man smiled slightly and opened his girlfriend's jacket, motioning for her to go say hello to Paul, who was across from them. The girlfriend was stunned, not understanding why he wanted her to do this. It turned out that John had brought his buddies to go skiing but didn't want to pay for tickets. Paul was the ticket seller at the ski resort, and if they could convince him, they could get in for free. Faced with this shameless request, the girl reluctantly agreed. She walked over to Paul on her long legs and enthusiastically struck up a conversation with him, lying that she had come to ski with her two sisters but had forgotten to bring money, asking Paul to make an exception. 50-year-old single Paul was immediately moved. He fantasized about meeting 3 beautiful women and agreed without hesitation. However, when he saw the girl return with 2 men, his face instantly darkened.
Girlfriends?
While the 3 quickly got on the cable car and slipped away. Even more outrageous, they came back to find Paul again that evening. This time, Paul firmly refused. No pretty girls was one thing, but wanting to ski twice in one day for free was too much. However, Mike threatened to report him for privately letting them in during the day if he didn't let them through. To keep his job, Paul was forced to compromise again and let them in. However, the 3 did not know that this would be the most dangerous decision of their lives. Shortly after, Paul's colleague came to take over the shift. Paul told his colleague there were still 3 people on the mountain and to close up after they came down. After waiting a while, the colleague happened to see 3 people skiing down, so he thought there was no one left on the mountain. He turned off the power, clocked out, and went to eat KFC. However, the real trio was still on the cable car when they suddenly discovered the machinery had stopped.
It's freaking cold up here! We don't have time for this, thank you!
They thought it was a brief malfunction until the ski resort lights went out one by one. That's when they realized they might have been forgotten there. A look of horror appeared on Lisa's face as she mentioned an even more terrifying fact. The resort was only open on Sundays. If they were forgotten, they would be trapped for a full 7 days. The 3 began shouting for help, but the only response was the howling blizzard and endless darkness. At this point, Lisa needed to go to the bathroom and had been holding it for a long time. Mike said he had also been holding it for a while and relieved himself right there on the cable car. It began to snow, gradually intensifying until a blizzard arrived, with fierce winds and hail sweeping in, making dense sounds. The 3 huddled together, still shivering from the cold. Suddenly, a light shone behind them. Could it be Ultraman coming to the rescue? As it approached, it turned out to be a snowplow. They finally saw hope and desperately shouted and waved. However, the blowing snow obscured visibility, and the driver didn't notice them. The driver received a storm warning and hurriedly turned around to return to headquarters. The people on the cable car, in a moment of desperation, threw their goggles and skis to the ground, trying to attract attention. But the driver, who was focused on backing up, never noticed. As the dead of night arrived, the cable car froze over with a row of icicles, and the 3 had almost lost consciousness. Frostbite began to appear on Lisa's face. Mike could no longer stand the weight. He pushed open the guardrail, deciding to jump down alone to seek help. Looking at the ground that seemed several stories high, he suppressed his fear, took a deep breath, and prepared to act.